Greetings, everybody. Good day, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to another segment of Quartermaster Brief Media. Today, guys, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about patents and patent secrecy. And this is a dovetail to my last video when I was touching bases on Russell's claims that he had copyrights and patents on the flags and the correct grammar and the things that he's claimed. So what we're going to be doing today, we're going to be going over the tenets of what it is that the tenets, or some people might understand the requisites of what makes a patent a secret and what doesn't and everything. So let's get right into it. Thank you guys for joining me again. I'm not going to try to keep things short for you, so I won't hold your time, and respect you guys for being here. Thank you so much. So anyway, let's get to it. So what constitutes a patent going into secrecy? Well, it says right here that patents are kept secret when a secrecy order is issued under the Invention Secrecy Act of 1951. Typically because the invention is deemed to be a potential threat to national security. This can occur with inventions related to areas like uranium enrichment, cryptography, and chemical or biological weapons, as well as dual-use technologies that could have both civilian and military applications. The U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, or the USPTO, issues such orders upon notification from defense agencies like the Department of Defense and Department of Energy and or NASA. The secrecy order prevents the patents from being published and restricts the applicants from filing foreign patents. These orders are reviewed annually and can be renewed for additional one-year periods if the national interest continues to require secrecy. There's no fixed maximum duration. Secrecy orders can remain in place indefinitely as long as the invention poses a security risk. They may be lifted if the technology is no longer threatens national security or becomes publicly known. For example, a patent application filed in 1936 remains secret until 2000. In times of war, a secrecy order remains in effect for the duration of hostilities plus 1 year. During a presidentiality declared national emergency, it lasts for a duration of emergency plus 6 months. While under a secrecy order, the invention must be kept confidential and the patent application is not published. However, once a patent is granted or the application is published, either after declassification or if no secrecy order is issued, the details become publicly available, ending any trade secret protection for the disclosed information. So as I said to you guys, what happens is that basically they take a patent and a patent is going to be filed for utility. And when they place it on the Secrecy Order Act of 1951, it then now becomes what is known as a trade secret. And I talked about this in my last video. Okay. And but what I want to do is I want to go over real quickly what these secrecy orders are, and some of the just small overview of what the performances are, each one of those. So if you go to the USPTO's website and you go right here, you can see right here that they have the 120 secrecy orders, R-07.2022. They have 37 CFR 5.1, 37 CFR 5.2, and 37 CFR 5.3. 5.4 is these are just some basic closures and clarities of what's going on, but they basically, we're gonna go down here and we're gonna go read this and go into just a small overview of what the secrecy orders are. So number one, we went over what is the basis or foundations of something being kept secret or a secrecy order being issued. And we learned in the first part that is based off of a detrimental to national security. Okay. Part two, now we're going to talk about the secrecy orders and types themselves. So there are 3 types of secrecy orders, and each one of a different scope, and are issued as follows. Secrecy order and permit for foreign filing in certain countries is type 1. To be used for those patent applications that disclose critical technology with military or space applications in accordance with the DoD Directive 5230.25. without withholding of unclassified technical data from public disclosure, based on 10 UCS 130, authority to withhold from public disclosure certain technical data. B, secrecy order and permit for disclosing classified information. This is type 2. To be used for those patent applications which contain data that is properly classified or classifiable under a security guideline where the patent application owner has a current DoD security agreement or DDD Form 441. If the application is classifiable, this secrecy order allows disclosure of the technical information as if it were classified as prescribed in the National Industrial Security Program Operations Manual. And what I'm going to do is be researching that manual here soon to find out what those actual procedures are. But right now, what I want to do to respect you guys' time is just trying to give you a quick overview of what secrecy orders is. General Secrecy Order Type 3, or General Secrecy Order, which is Type 3, is to be used for those patent applications that contain data deemed detrimental to national security, if published or disclosed, including that data properly classifiable under a security guideline where the patent application owner does not have a DoD security agreement. The order prevents disclosure of the subject matter to anyone without an express written consent from the Commissioner for Patents. However, quite often this type of security order includes a permit, or Permit A, which relaxes the disclosure restrictions that's set forth in the permit. So basically, what it's saying is that right here, this one is the top level of you can't talk about anything, but there are some caveats where they'll give you a permit A, which is this one right here. They'll kind of superimpose this over top of this one or with this one, giving you some leeway for relaxation to disclose certain information. So it's going to read just a little bit more, and then I'm going to go to the next one. So this type 1 security order is intended to permit the widest utilization of the technical data in the patent application while still controlling any publication or disclosure which will result in any unlawful exploitation. This type of security order also identifies the countries where corresponding patent applications may be filed. So remember, in the first one, it says up right here that you can file with secrecy order number 1. It says to be used with those patent applications that disclose critical technology with military or space applications in accordance with the DoD directive, and you can also file those abroad. So this type of security order also identifies the countries. Okay, right here, so we have Australia, Belgium, Canada, Denmark, France, Germany, Greece, Italy, Japan, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Norway, Portugal, Republic of Korea, Spain, Sweden, Turkey, and the United Kingdom. Please note that the applications subject to secrecy orders cannot be filed directly with the European Patent Office since there is no reciprocal security agreement with that organization. Applications must be filed in individual EPO in individual EPO member countries identified above. Applicants must arrange filing of subject matter through the agency sponsoring the secrecy order. The intent of the Type 2 secrecy order is to treat classified and classifiable technical data presented as a patent application in the same manner as any other classified material. Accordingly, this secrecy order will include a notification of the classification level of the technical data of the application. The Type 3 secrecy order is used where other types of orders do not apply, including orders issued by the direction of agencies other than the Department of Defense. A secrecy order should not be construed or thought about in a way to mean that the government has adopted or contemplates adoption of the alleged invention disclosed in the application, nor is it any indication of the value of such invention. That's a lie, but we'll get to that one later on down the line. So what I'm going to do for you guys, just to give you so what is basically what I'm getting at here is in part 2 is that based off of Russell's claims that he said that he has patents and copyrights on the correct grammar and the flag and also the syntax. So you got the syntax, the fraud syntax. I call it fraud syntax. For you guys might not be familiar with that. Fraud syntax is the ones, adverb, twos, verb, all that stuff. That's the fraud syntax is what I call it for showing or showcasing fraud grammar. And then you have your correct grammar. So if Russell is filing has a secrecy order on those, and he needs to disclose with us at least that this is that he has a patent file and and at least under some kind of secrecy order, and that way everybody can have some kind of closure as to which secrecy order he's under. Okay, at least tell us which one he's under, A, B, or C. You type 1, type 2, or type 3. So now if that is the case that he's under this, then that means that Russell has also now broken his oath to uphold the secrets, because he's been out publicly talking about these things, and unless he has permission from somebody to do it. But according to him, he's the Postmaster General of the world, so he don't need nobody's permission. So this is where the crux of the problem comes in. So as in tandem to this information I'm saying, to that end, filing with the patent patent office is an advantage to the public. Okay, it's a value benefit proposition, as I stated in my last video, for the public, whereby the patent is in public space and therefore it can be challenged or be shown to either be infringing on somebody else's work that is already out there, blah, 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 going down that line like that. But the initial issue is to be challenged and or improved upon, okay, or what you would call amelioration, okay, improving on particular invention, either the method or the actual device itself, or how it looks or is designed. You can just do all that kind of stuff. Since Russell's patent claims on the flag are not public, we don't have any idea on what he's claiming or what he's doing or anything like that. Now, the flag itself is a utility, as well as can fall under a copyright trademark issue as well. Okay, and the postal mechanics themselves fall under what is known as utility. Okay, which would also be a patent based off of utility. So, just before we go any further, so you can understand here, there are various types of patents. Okay, so you have basically 3 types of patents, my friend. You have utility, design, and plant. Now, let's read this right quick. I'm gonna go through a little quick overview, then I'm gonna play a video for you guys so you can get a more of a clear understanding of what we're talking about when it comes to secrecy. Okay, and when Russell talks about FRCP closure, 26 closure. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Because some of the videos, some of the stuff he's been doing has been highlighting FRCP 9. You know what I'm saying? Fraud by confession, based off your performances. So, the United States Patent and Trademark Office is the government agency responsible for examining patent applications and issuing patents. A patent is a type of property right, and it gives the patent holder the right for a limited time to exclude others from making, using, or offering to sell, selling, or importing into the United States the subject matter that is within the scope of the protection granted by the patent. The USPTO determines whether a patent should be granted in a particular case. However, it is up to the patent holder to enforce his or her own rights if the USPTO does not grant a patent. The purpose of this guide is to provide you with the basic information about filing utility patent applications. A patent application is a complex legal document best prepared by one trained to prepare such a document. Thus, after reviewing this guide, you may wish to consult a registered patent attorney or agent. Additional information is available. Fuck that. Write it yourself. There are 3 types of patents: utility, design, and plant. There are 2 types of utility and plant patent applications: provisional and non-provisional. A provisional patent application is a quick and an inexpensive way for an inventor to establish a U.S. filing date for their invention, or a first to file, which can be claimed and later filed in a non-provisional application performance. A provisional application is automatically abandoned 12 months after its filing date and is not examined. An applicant who decides to initially file a provisional application must file a corresponding non-provisional application within the duration of 12 months pendency, a 12-month pendency period of the provisional application in order to benefit from the earlier provisional application filing. A non-provisional application is examined by a patent examiner and is used and may be issued as a patent if all the requirements for patentability are met. Each year, the USPTO receives over 600,000 patent applications. Most of the applications filed with USPTO are non-provisional applications for utility patents because of the cheap cost of filing a non-provisional. Because of the because the people wanted to not go through the basic process of provisional. So the non-provisional is when you're going directly for your actual patent number. You're trying to get out there immediately and not have to go through that. For somebody small like me, I would file what is known as a provisional patent because I want to get a protection on something in case I wanted to go show my product to maybe an investor. Maybe I wanted to share it with a manufacturer, and I didn't want any kind of information disclosed. And if they did disclose it, I got some kind of protection on it. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to listen to a patent attorney and let him explain exactly what's going on with the patent secrecy and everything, and try to get you guys out of here. So thank you for your time. So let's go into this video right now.
Hello, and welcome to Williams-Mullin's Trending Now, an IP podcast, a legal podcast focused on providing innovative companies and investors with important and timely information concerning intangible assets such as patents, trademarks, copyrights, and trade secrets. I'm your host, Tom Burgert, and today I'll be joined by my colleague, Clint Brannon, a partner in our IP practice group here at Williams-Mullin, to discuss Patent Office Secrecy Orders. Clint, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Tom. How are you doing?
Doing great. Glad to have you here and glad to talk about this topic with you. As a first question, why is the Patent Office involved in the issuance of secrecy orders?
That's a very good question, Tom. It really goes back to the beginning of the Cold War. And the various agencies in the United States at that time were very concerned that patenting activity might lead to sensitive technical information being published and made available to America's enemies. And so the Invention Secrecy Act was enacted at that time, and it sought to prevent publication of patent applications that were deemed detrimental to the national security of the United States.
Okay, so if I'm an applicant and I think my technology may be, but I'm not sure, do I need to put that on the application cover sheet, or how do applications wind up subject to secrecy orders?
That's a very good question, Tom. Generally, patents don't publish until 18 months after they're filed. And during that time period, interested agencies such as the Department of Defense or the Department of Energy may review patent applications and determine if any of them may be detrimental to the national security. The PTO can also review applications itself and send them to those agencies for review. And you will know within 6 months of filing your application if that has happened.
And so how, if I'm the applicant, how do I find out about that? They notify me, or how does that work?
Yes, the Patent Office will actually send out, much like it sends out any communication during the patent prosecution process. It'll send out a notification that your patent application has been subjected to a secrecy order.
At that time, do I freak out, or what do I do? Does it give me any kind of options or actions that I need to take?
Well, there are several different types of secrecy orders. There are 3 primary types. And the first one is a Type 1 secrecy order. These secrecy orders relate to critical technology with military or space applications, and they still allow you to undertake foreign filings in certain jurisdictions, and they still let you share your invention with U.S. persons. And those are U.S. Citizens, U.S. companies, organizations incorporated in the United States. So for those applications, there are some limited restrictions on what you can do. Type 2 secrecy orders relate to classified or classifiable information, and that information is treated just as if it were classified like any other DoD or DOE material. So that's much more restrictive. And lastly, Type 3 is most restrictive, and that basically means you cannot disclose any information to anyone without written permission from the Commissioner of Patents. So it essentially shuts down not only your patent application process, but any other activities you are undertaking with that invention.
So it sounds like I don't have to respond actively. It's more of a what am I limited in doing, and who can I disclose relevant information to? Is that accurate?
That's correct, Tom. Yes, you don't have to actively do anything in relation to the secrecy order.
Got it. So if my application is then subjected to a secrecy order, what happens to the application?
That's also a good question, Tom, because as a patent applicant, you've invested a lot of money and time in getting your patent application filed, and you would like to reap the benefits of those activities. The good news is that while it's subject to a secrecy order, the prosecution of the application continues. However, the application will not publish. If you continue through the prosecution process with office actions from the examiner, responses to those office actions, and actually get to the point where the patent application is allowable, that's where the secrecy order has an impact. And it essentially stalls the patent prosecution process at that point.
So what does mean about a patent prosecution process for you guys that might be a little confused about the terminology that's used in patents, or when they're talking about patents, is that the prosecution process doesn't mean that you're under review or that you're being charged with anything. The prosecution process of the examination of the patent is what he means like that. So the prosecution means the examination of the validity of the patent to make sure everything, all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, pretty much in a simpler term. And what he's saying is that that stifles the publication of the patent and you doing anything with it
until the secrecy order issue is resolved.
And when is that resolved? Is there a standard time, or does it depend upon the application?
There is a standard one-year limit for a secrecy order. However, they can be renewed for multiple one-year terms, and it's very common for them to have 2 or 3 renewals.
And that process, is that the same type of notification? So I have a 1-year secrecy order, my application is still pending, I haven't heard anything. Do I get another notice that says it's been renewed, or how do I inquire about that?
Yes, you will get another notice stating that the secrecy order has been renewed for another 1-year term.
Great. Other than a secrecy order, is there any other way that an application that I file might not be published?
Yes, there may be instances where you as a patent applicant do not want your patent application published. Maybe you don't want your competitors to see what your R&D is currently doing. There may be other reasons related to investment and other concerns. And one of the things you can do is you can submit a non-publication request. Once the PTO receives that, they will withhold the application for publication. However, that comes at a cost. You will not be allowed to seek foreign counterparts of your U.S. patent. So you.
And see, this is where the problem with Russ comes in. So since if he's on this one, and then he's going around the world claiming he's the Postmaster General, then what he's done is he's infringed on everybody else's sovereignty in their patent positions by saying that he has a patent now in that particular country because he's in the world. He's covering the entire planet. Okay. So I want y'all to hear that one more time, so you can contrast with what I'm saying.
Application request published. Maybe you don't want your competitors to see what your R&D is currently doing. There may be other reasons related to investment and other concerns. And one of the things you can do is you can submit a non-publication request. Once the PTO receives that, they will withhold the application for publication. However, that comes at a cost. You will not be allowed to seek foreign counterparts of your U.S. patent. So you couldn't simultaneously seek patent protection in the United States and another jurisdiction.
Okay, so if I want to file abroad, I cannot request non-publication.
That's correct.
Okay.
You can go out here and file that and then go sue people. My bad, I didn't really have my mic off. So what I was saying, guys, was this. This is the problem with Russ. Russ has an issue with what this guy just said here. He can't now go out into the public venue, out into the world, and then claim now that he's got control of the areas in the performances of contract in these areas when his patent restricts him from any kind of foreign filing. he's an American. Okay, you're not some international dude. So you can't now. Your technology is now restricted to just America and here only. But then you're gonna tell that you're the Postmaster General of the world. Russell does not have a. I'm gonna say this one more time. Russell did not capture grammar itself. Okay, everybody's language. He doesn't own language. He owns a methodology, a procedure. Okay, a utility on communications, a math-based communications utility. That's all he has. And he would also have to do, if he's got patent and copyright, fall underneath these systems. And if he is underneath this right here, then he's violating some of the other stuff he's doing by talking about it and coming out the side of his mouth and telling everybody he gonna do this and everything. Then what the fuck are you doing? Show me the money.
So back to the secrecy orders then, what are my rights if the USPTO issues a secrecy order?
You do have a few recourses if the Patent Office issues a secrecy order against you. One good thing is that I mentioned earlier that you have a delay in issuance once your patent application gets into a state where it's allowable. You do get a patent term extension in the same amount of time of that delay. So what that means is if your patent application is delayed from issuance for 2 years, you will have the term of the patent extended through a patent term adjustment for a period of 2 years as well. So you get some of your time back, but it comes on the back end of the patent rather than on the front end of the patent. The other course of action you can take if the secrecy order issue persists for an extended period of time is that you can request compensation from the government for the damage caused by the secrecy order. And this is limited. It is not really intended to fully compensate you, but what it does is it at least mitigates the damage somewhat. The default rule is that you get 75% of just compensation as determined by the head of the agency that issued the secrecy order.
Interesting. So if I should violate a secrecy order, I know you talked about the type 1, type 2, and type 3 secrecy orders. What happens? How do people know, and what happens to me?
Well, there can be some serious consequences for violating a Patent Office secrecy order. You're subject to fines of $10,000, and you're also subject to imprisonment for not more than 2 years.
That sounds like a key takeaway to me. What other key takeaways should we take from this episode?
Well, I think it's important, especially for companies who operate in the defense industry.
Okay, my friends, that's all. I'm not gonna hold y'all anymore. That's all I wanted to go through. If y'all want to watch these videos, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this the link in the description here, and you also can watch this one right here as well, where the guy goes over the 6,000 patents sent by the government based off of this 120 secrecy order. So if you want to understand why you don't have any 0-point technology, wonder why you don't have the med beds, you wonder why you can't regrow your teeth, or wonder why you can't regrow a kidney, or some of this other stuff that you see that's fantastical. Right, the secrecy order 120 is the problem. Right here. This order right here. 120 secrecy order from 1951, and like I said, when you research it, it says right here the Secrecy Act of 1951 because of the potential threat to national security. Okay, so Russell needs to come clean about what the fuck's going on and everything like that. Now, if he's got if his periodic table thing that he says is so classified and everything or whatever, they're not gonna understand something like that. As a utility, you filing a patent on that, everything, and you might want to keep that secret. That's understandable because of what he's doing there. But this grammar thing and all this other flag shit he talking about and everything, no, you need to come clean with that and show us the money, okay? Anyway, my name is CJ. Y'all know me also as Postmaster Good. I'm out.